Okay, hello and good afternoon and welcome to all of you and thank you for taking your time off to be here. So today we have Shri with us, Shri Lakshmi. She has a 8-year-old daughter and they've been unschooling her. So we will be going through her journey today. So let's start. Okay, let's go. So tell me, Sri. So how do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, so hi, my name is Lakshmi. My husband will join in a couple of minutes. He's Chandan. Basically, we both were engineers and we were working in the US for a couple of years. And for our parents, we wanted to move back to India. And when we did, it was really rough couple of years. Probably 3 years were very rough because it was a little bit of culture shock of the work and how the system works again. And we never worked in India before, so we were like from studies we went and we came back and we had to join the workforce. It was very hard to get back to the values that were here, and also the traffic and everything was affecting us. So we were thinking that we don't want to continue this for a very, very long time. So probably around up to 50 years approximately we will do. And so we were planning like that. But our conditions changed so much that slowly we kind of wanted to rush into it. So about we said, okay, we'll review our whole thing. Let us do this by 47. Then we went to 45. We were recalculating our numbers. And around the same time, my daughter, we had joined her in nursery in a nearby school, and she used to come to home, and she was very excited to go to school. But the first month, after the first month, it weared off kind of. She wasn't interested anymore. She used to come back home and she would complain, Mama, they won't let us play outside in the play area. We're always having to sit inside. So we thought, okay, how about can you just somehow go through this year and we will see what we can do. And it was getting even harder for her to wake up and go to school. Earlier, she used to wake up early by herself, so it was a little bit challenging. Then we kind of decided how about homeschooling, and I started reading about homeschooling and all that. And my husband was from the beginning, he knew what homeschooling was and all that, and I wasn't so sure. So we started that, and I started looking at all the curriculums, what I should be doing, what sort of printouts I should be having. I was getting ready myself, and it was about the same time, a little bit earlier. I had quit my job as well because the work was, my workplace was very far, and I couldn't go. And then one day, I think when we decided we will homeschool, we started it the next year. And Chandan used to get these questions from my daughter. She would say, Daddy, I'm homeschooling. When will you do home working? Sort of questions. And they were very innocent questions, but Chandan was like, okay, yeah, why should I really, we all look forward to retirement, to live peacefully, to enjoy whatever we have earned. And Chandan was like, we always do this, but by the time when we are ready to enjoy, the kid is not really interested because they have grown up and they really want to explore their life and they are not interested in anymore in us anymore because we are older and it's for them it's time to fly away. And he said it's these initial years where every one of us should be really with the kid because that's when they really want us. They want to be with us. They like to share their stories and all. And he said, I have to rethink all of this. And he was anyway in that all of that time. He was really checking all our numbers. How much are we earning? How much should we cut down on our expenses, or how much is enough for us? And enough is a little bit, that enough never is the same for everybody. And even now it's not enough for us, but we wanted to be content with what we have. So we decided that unless we put a limit to that, threshold, we'll never, look forward to stopping. So somehow he really wanted to quickly do it before Sonu turned 5. And luckily, I think everything worked out, and we decided that this is the amount, whatever we have earned is enough for us, and this is how we'll go forward. And fortunately, we had our parents did not stop us from this decision, and they were also not dependent on us. So there were a lot of things that worked for us, and which is how we started. And before even quitting, Chandan took a 3 month sabbatical to stay home and to see if he would be happy being at home, because we are always going to work and coming back home, right? So and in the 3 months, he never had a day where he had to look back, oh, I'm bored, or what do I do? And he always loved being home, but this kind of really pushed him to the final decision, and he said, okay, fine, I'm comfortable now. We can all be here, and this is fine. We have some plans, but we are working on it. But as of now, we both don't work. Our child doesn't go to school. We all sit at home. And that's pretty much our retirement life. I leave it small introduction for you. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So once you decided that you started homeschooling or unschooling, what steps did you take? What did you do, like pre-preparations or anything like that?
Yeah, so I was kind of new to homeschooling. I mean, I heard about that concept, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was thinking, okay, so what is homeschooling? I went to Google, I started searching, I read some information, I started gathering curriculums and these phonics, because she was just 3. And I started doing all of this, and somewhere I even started showing her some videos and all that. But what I observed was that she used to run away as soon as I would show her something, and she would be like, "No, I'm not interested in this." And then in my research, I even found there were different types of homeschooling. There was unschooling, there were travel schooling, there were many kinds. And I was even, I started reading some more. I was going in depth and reading more and more books. And there was a time when I was trying to teach phonics to Sonu. This was like at the very beginning. And when she resisted, I somehow saw that, okay, why am I doing all of this? Why am I bringing the school inside the house? So I took a break for myself, and we left it, because we thought if this is too early, let us give a break. And all of a sudden, one day, Sonu started reading a book in front of us. And yeah, I was shocked. That was my first sort of, a slap on my face to show what is unschooling. And from there on, every day it has been a learning. We started deschooling ourselves, our thoughts, our way of thinking of how learning happens, how education happens. And since then I haven't gone to any sort of curriculum or anything. And my daughter is fine right now, and we are enjoying this process. So, in short.
So if I ask you to give me a glimpse of your one day of all the wonderful days that you have, how would your one day look like? Like, how do you begin? How does it end?
Very typical, boring. We just have work to do. I am into a little bit of gardening, and Chandan has his projects. We want to make sure that we go zero waste. We try to practice minimalism and sustainable practices at home. So we are always thinking of what else can we do to reduce our carbon footprint, and our usage of electricity and whatnot. So slowly we actually started with composting and all that. And now, once we accomplished that, we moved on to rainwater harvesting. So a day like that would be, planning what do we need, what kind of pipes do we need, what do I get. I go to the market, we get it, we fix the things together. and we see it doesn't fail, or if it fails, what else can we do? And another day would be, just relaxing, doing nothing, doing our own things. Some days it would be reading a lot of books for my daughter, and she wants to play some do the role plays. And some days it would be, just cooking, nothing else. Some days are boring, but it's not. There is no specific, schedule or anything that has been planned. Right now, we know for sure that this is how it will be, our life, but we are constantly thinking of how to better our life. That's pretty much it.
So let's start. So yeah, do you facilitate, like you are in the position of facilitating right now, so you've changed yourself from being a teacher or trying to teach to just facilitate. So what are your main inputs of being a facilitator, like to create an environment, or what do you do, or what are your specifics as a facilitator that you have as a points that these are the things I would like to do, or I do it, or something like that?
Is this to the child or in
The
general?
child. The
Child,
child.
okay. So, earlier when I used to be very, learning about unschooling and all that, I wanted to see what sort of things I would need, books and all that. But what I found is that, the child really needs to have the experiences more. So from then onwards, when we started doing our things, we were just exposed to whatever we are doing. Definitely books is something she enjoys and we love to read for her. So I try to gather a lot of second-hand books, whatever she is interested in, and I look to getting few things, not a lot. There was a time when I was searching a lot about these open-ended toys and stuff. But what I realize is that none of that really is required or matters, because unless the kid gets it, the idea comes from her, it never works. And especially because we want her to lead the learning, so we kind of leave it to her what she wants to do on a daily basis. So, I do gather simple things like some drawing learning materials. They are home, but honestly they don't get touched that much often. So we just keep telling her, what we are doing. So if we are doing this rainwater harvesting, we tell her what we are doing, why we are doing this, and she has some of her own thoughts or inputs. She will get into it. Sometimes it's so boring for her; she's not interested in that, and she just goes off on her own.
Okay. There is someone who wants to ask a question, I guess. Just a minute. Sushant, you have a question to ask? You can unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yes. Thank you very much. I've just heard, and in the morning when the message came, I read the blog also. I really congratulate you for the simple language and wonderfully the way we have expressed. So I have two questions now after hearing to what right now. I was very patiently listening. First question is now, as you mentioned about balancing the logical part, the mathematical part, and the creative part. Right now, you mentioned that you purchase items and you create some activities out of it. So how do you balance this logical and creative part? This is very crucial. And when balancing the money also part is, as you mentioned, that contented also, as well as being more creative also. So how do you balance this logic and creativity? And second question is, as you mentioned about the projects for the funding. So is it funding for the projects or funding for your daily needs? Thank you very much.
Funding for the daily projects or funding for our daily needs. So
First about the kid.
Yeah, so I think you have asked lots of questions. So I just want to address the child part. Maybe the financial part Chandan can explain. So see, I think how it works is, if you have a path for your child, like you have a destination for her, then you already know what you want to put together for her. Like if you want a child to be an engineer, you will get more science books or whatever. This is the typical way of thinking, right? So at the moment, we don't know what our child would be. She could be a carpenter, a daily laborer, or she could be, a high class scientist. We have no clue, whatever it is. And the biggest thing, the biggest challenge for us is, are we ready to accept whatever she wants to be? So today, there are days when I feel when she reads books or talks, she gives her ideas. I feel she has a lot of potential. I should go buy some more books. One day she talks about, let's say, human body. She loves human body because we happen to buy those books. So that's the reason she got exposed to it. If I had not done it, she probably would not have known about it, and she would not have expressed interest on that. So, and this happens to be my thinking, oh, I like science, so let me bring some science books. That's how I had started. Now I know what she really like. I mean, she does enjoy science, but it's not like a passion. We don't know. I mean, as of now, I don't think it's a passion. She is interested to learn about it. So I have bought some books. I did buy, again, I don't buy anything expensive, or I don't buy anything, these Montessori materials as such. None of that happens. I try to see in locally available situations in a medium, amount of money, what toys that, like open-ended toys, if I see, like for example, there are some NGOs, it's called Navnirmiti Learning and such. They do have, this is for underprivileged kids. They have lots of materials to teach math and science. And I happen to learn about them. So when I went through the materials, some of them are very interesting, like the science projects that they do. And I used to work on them when I was a kid. So that kind of again, pulled me towards it. And I thought, what if, I show her this, maybe she would be interested. So in that way, I have purchased few toys, and I've kept them. And we have always showed them, let's see, this is here. If you want to, please go ahead and we will help you if you're interested in learning more. And say I have some 7 toys now of that, some 2, 3 she has really explored well, and the rest have been remained untouched. So after I learned that, I don't have the need or necessity to put all of this together so that she has to get exposed to this. Now, and also the child, as she grows, now she is 8, she kind of tells us, this is my interest now, like I want to do this or I want to do that. And in that area, if there is something normal, like what all can we facilitate to get into that mode of learning, we do. Other than that, I don't invest in buying a lot of things, or books. I definitely do. I'm sorry, I get a lot of old second hand books. And again, I used to get so many different varieties of books. Recently she started one series and she got so much into it that she wanted the next, and she kept asking us, can I have the next series. And I somehow managed to find all the 14 books, and she read, and she did justice to the amount of books we bought, and she learned, and we were extremely happy because these were used, and the rest that I invested personally for my own interest never were used. So now when I see that the value comes when she is interested, I have changed my mode of thinking and I'm going with her. So, and we are in the process of, we are not completely there yet, but this is what we wanted to do. Stay home and see how this happens, and be there for her in that moment. And, at least make her, or at least not for herself, but for us, that we try to do the best we possibly could. I mean, that is our satisfaction. That is our need, not hers. So that I don't know if I really, Shushank, I answered all the question, but about the monetary, if you don't mind, could you repeat the question so Chandan can answer?
Yeah. Thank you very much. You had addressed it very nicely. Thank you very much. The financial question which I had, as you mentioned that there are certain things which you buy from outside for the projects. So I just wanted to understand, and you said that you're already into different projects about water harvesting and all this. So are you looking out for basic need financial things? which you already planned as per the plan, or looking for funds for the harvesting projects or something like that?
No, no, we're not looking for any funds for any of these projects. The reason I retired was to work on my projects. Like, I have a few ideas. I wanted to work on them. And even while I was working at my workplace, I still was doing these home projects that were fun. And rainwater harvesting is one of those projects, just for fun. And from my retirement, I have like my corpus could actually support also projects. So I calculated all my expenses, which includes expenses for projects. So from my funds, I just take out some money and then build whatever I want. So rainwater was one of those.
Okay, thank you very much.
And the way it has been is that, when we started, I had no clue, and it's very ironical. I'm an environmental engineering student, and I knew about all of these sustainable practices, but I never used them in real life for my own self, and it didn't even come to me. But once the retirement happened, and somehow, when my child came into my life, I wanted to do the best for her. I mean, I think that's how we are all motivated to learn more about ourselves and what we can do better. So when I learned about this, I wanted to do something green, and I got into composting and then gardening. And then, I started thinking, yeah, we are buying water here. We are in Bangalore. And, somewhere the topic came from rainwater, about water harvesting. And now that we had this time available for us, we wanted to see, yes, if you want to achieve sustainability, what all practices can we do? And being in the city, it's very hard. And society is always around us, asking us questions. What are you doing? What do you do? Why do you do this? So, and it's fun. I mean, it's definitely fun being inside it. Although, we do have some future plans, but right now, when we started this rainwater harvesting, there were so many failures, and we like to do everything together, like by ourselves, without a third person's help. So cutting the pipes, how they work and how to put the fittings in, this has been learning. And then once a half of that was achieved, we thought, okay, what else can we do? So now is doing a little bit of this solar project. Like, we want to have, we want to be less dependent on the, what do you say? Suddenly I forget these words. Electricity. Like, so we want to harness energy. So, like, we want to get our own, reduce the consumption from the electricity board. So we are planning that, and it's going on. Right now we have one panel. Again, all of these projects, we talk about it, then we gather the materials, and then we start doing it. And so far, like, the time has never stopped, and it has never become boring, and it has not become hard also. We have ups and downs, but we are sailing through that. And in the process, whatever Sonu is learning or understanding, we don't know, but we want her to know that this is also another way. You don't have to go to the mainstream only.
Okay, now let's put a little bit focus on Chandan. Can you just explain? See, I am too sure to tell you. I should tell you what is the word? I am not really aware of your blogs that you speak about investing and all that. So to a layman, like, I am like so illiterate about that financial literacy. So what would you say? Like, how did this whole process of retiring at 30, at the late 30s, come into mind, and how did it start? And if someone is planning, how should they go about? Just a few words. And remember, you're talking to a financially illiterate person. Okay? So, yeah, that is one thing in mind.
Yeah, so how did it start was basically, I think she already explained. So it's just like we moved from the US to India, and as soon as I moved, I don't know, somehow I didn't like the kind of work that is happening here. It's not bad. It's just like there is a definite shift in how the thought process is over there and over here. So So as soon as I started, I wanted to just quit at some point and do my own startup. So it was not even like a plan for retirement. It was I wanted to do a startup, and that's how I planned all. I did all the financial planning. Like, what if I can accumulate some money and then at some point quit the job and live off of that money so that I can do my own startup until I get money. So that was the plan, but somehow as life went on, things went up and down, and personally and financially, or not financially, but work-wise, there were some not good, not in good situations. So I thought like. Somehow over the period, like stoicism was something that I got introduced to, and because of that I thought we should go minimalistic, and all these materialistic thoughts should go away. And as I was traveling through that journey and my kid was born, and as I started enjoying more time with her, I thought maybe I should just spend more time while she's young, and not when she's too old to have fun with me. So that's when the retirement thought came in. So that's probably around 2013, 14-ish. So by the way, we moved to India in 2011. So I retired in 2018. So in 2014 around, I decided to move from the thought process of startup to early retirement. And then I changed the numbers a little bit to see how, like, what our expenses could be, assuming we go more minimalistic and less materials. And that, and yeah, other kinds of financial planning, basic stuff. In fact, I'm just an engineer. I don't even know anything about finance. So just lots
Yeah,
of
that was
reading.
actually my question. So are you from like financial background, or was this all the learning that you did on your own and
It's, yeah, it's just learning from books and blogs. That's one of the reason I wanted to write a blog, so I can help others. It's just mostly books and blogs. And my background is I'm an electrical engineer from BTech, and in masters I did computer engineering. But so computer electrical, so I have no financial background. But with books, with the help of books and blogs, I somehow managed to figure out all the things, and that's pretty much it. Then it's all about saving and yeah, making sure we hit the targets, and then I retire. Yeah, and for the question about for a layman, what would you suggest? So I already have this on my blog, but
yeah,
I'll just yeah. So I think I follow the 5 steps to early retirement or something on my blog. But basically, the thing is, it's always best to start early. Uh, I mean, start early as like when you're young and when you're first earning, that's when you should start investing. And the compounding has like a really good benefit. Like initially, you won't see any like none of your investments won't be building anything for you. But as time progresses, it keeps on compounding and it grows exponentially, and which is what you want. So you need time for the exponential curve to hit upwards. So you need time to start early. Then yeah, be minimalistic is something that is anyways. So if your expenses are low, then the amount of money you will need to retire will be less, like because you'll be taking out money from your corpus. So minimalism is another thing, and what else? Also, early retirement is not for everyone. Probably I should have disclaimed that first. When some people like to work, which is fine, and think about it, like if you retire, what will you do? Like not all people should retire because it's fun. Like you can't travel every day forever because you won't have that much money. So think about what you will do after you retire. Maybe you have fun projects, you want to spend time with family, your kid, whatever it is. You'll have to fill up the time, otherwise you'll not be able to pay it. So that's another thing. And for financially, the way I did it is, so once you figure out this your expenses, there is a equation which is very simple. It's like whatever your annual expenses is, multiply that by 25, and you get a number. So let's say my annual expenses are 6 lakhs, so monthly 50,000. So that's 6 lakhs a year, and multiply that by 25, you'll get 1.5 crores. So if you can have 1.5 crores today, then you can retire now. So that's simple math, and just work towards that. So for the investing part, just save as much as you can. Like if you're minimalist, then you'll be saving a lot. You won't have too many expenses. So take all of that, put them in equities and debt in 70-30 ratio. So 70% in equities and 30% in debts. So when I say these words, I mean There are equity mutual funds and there are debt mutual funds. So just invest in equity mutual funds and debt mutual funds and let it grow and just keep investing. And once you hit your target, you can retire. Hope that was helpful.
I hope it's clear.
I think you should take classes on these now.
Yeah, I think most of this information he keeps
On
it
the
on
blog,
because
yeah.
he wants people to think about it. And and he also does these monthly calls, monthly or once a quarter. He has these calls where people who are interested in learning about financial management and all. It's a free session that he takes for an hour. People can join in and ask suggestions and stuff, and he's more than happy to guide. Yeah,
Okay,
he's
my
very
one,
sorry.
yeah, one more question is, so now have you never felt like you are caged, like you're supposed to only spend so much and like boxed in this thing? Have you never felt like okay, I like, for example, like you said 50,000 per month is what you thought would be your expenses, and that's how you calculated your end amount and you did that. Now what if there is like you want something and you want to buy something, and then you're like, okay, but your budget is 50,000 and not able to afford it. Have you ever felt that being in cage or box?
I would want your answer.
Those feelings are human. They happen. Like you want something like whatever the new technology is or whatever. Like I'm very much into tech, so I like all the new technologies, all the new tablets, TVs, anything that comes in the area of technology. I would like to buy. But like once I gone through this process of stoicism, the feeling were like so you feel you like your initial instinct is like you want it. You feel you want it. You really desire it. You go searching for it. I do it myself. I just go searching for something that came out very recently. Let's say a new laptop. I just go search for it, read about it, watch all videos, learn everything about it. But when it comes to buying, I question myself like, is this really a want or a need? So that's pretty much it. And once I figure out it's just a want, then I stop there. So, for example, I have a perfectly working laptop. It's like 4 years old, but it's very fine. I upgraded it several times, so it'll be meaningless to buy another one because it's slightly faster. Because for whatever work that I'm doing, it's just fine. So similarly for my phone or whatever things. So that's the thing. So it's the feeling is like normal, but you have to like really think about it and really contemplate if you really want it in that way. But financially, I don't think I've been restricted because of I budgeted this much, so that's why I have to limit myself. There's no such thing. It's just that like, is it really a need or a want? So that's their expert.
Yeah, and also I think somewhere somewhere in this process, somehow we have come to this position because we were mentally, with whatever has happened to us in our lives. It kind of made us so much not want many more things, and that kind of helped us to quickly figure out, is this a need or a necessity. And also, I think at one point now we feel like we had some of that enough. Like we had when we were in the US, we enjoyed quite a bit. I mean, we were not highly like spending and all that, but we had a great life. And when we came back here, even now we feel like we're in a good position. It's not restrictive in any sense, but we do think like, I mean, even when we have to buy clothes, we think like, is it necessary? We have enough, so there is an answer. And sometimes we do really really want it, and if we want it, I think whatever you want, you should get it, like, or you should work for it. And if you have that ability, if for example the word